Hey guys, it's Todd with Project 9 Life. Welcome to Personal Development Hacks. Helping you guys get out of the Groundhog's Day and actually start achieving and living your best life. So, today's episode, we will go through just some mindset stuff, some tips, tricks, things like that to just get your mind right when you're starting something new or you're really determined that this is going to be the time and everything is in place for you to make progress in your life and not have it be like every other year where six weeks in, a month, 2 months in, you're kind of sitting there with a resolution that you haven't hit yet and pointing towards next year already. So, and then also about halfway through, we've got a brand new program that we're introducing. So I'll give you guys the details on that, so you can stick around for that. So, just a couple of things to kind of get us started on the right foot here. Keep in mind that when we're talking about some of this stuff, this is everyone from the most successful people in the world to people that are just getting going or that have different aspects or different things in life that they focus on. But it's all information that's out there that is there for us to tap into and really kind of dive into understanding how it impacts us and how we can utilize and benefit some of that stuff. So, so I'll start off, just got some points to keep in kind of the back of your head. Number one is sleep is your superpower. I know a lot of people and a lot of us out there, we're resigned to 4 or 5 hours, not that good sleep, don't get that real deep kind of relaxing sleep. So there are risks, obviously, without good sleep, not just on the production side in terms of having a productive day or week or whatever, but there's health stuff along with it as well. So just make sure that you're mindful that, keep sleep. I mean, when you're tired and, dedicate that time to making sure that you're recharging your battery so that you're ready for the next day, for the next week, for the next month. Take that time to make sure that you dedicate a good 7-8 hours to just sleep. Obviously, most people out there, we have some form of a bad habit. Could be health, diet, frustration, attitude, mindset. We're a spender instead of a saver, all sorts of stuff like that. There's ways that you can kind of rewire your brain to basically break those bad habits. Judson Brewer is a psychiatrist, and he does basically a really good talk on how to rewire your brain to stop making those bad decisions and to break the habits that you've already kind of gotten into and already made. So each and every day, all of us have choices, right? From something as simple as what we eat or what we're doing first, or, are we going to work out or walk, or, do we need to go a certain place? Do we need to got to get the oil changed either today or tomorrow? Those are all choices. a lot of what a lot of successful people think about is that the choices that you make um, can at times, and do a lot at times, can impact your success in hitting your goals, achieving, living that best life that everyone wants. So don't look at each decision as so minor. Some of them are, obviously, but if your choice is what's for dinner, and you have a healthy and an unhealthy option, well, the more successful that you get, and as you elevate and start to level up, you need to focus on making healthy choices, making the right choices. Sometimes it's a little bit less convenient, but um, there are things that you got to do. I mean, God, it's remember, I got two kids that are 17 and 15, and so um, there was plenty of times during their younger days where, getting one kid rounded up from one practice, getting another kid rounded up from another practice, all of a sudden it's 8:15, 8:30, and it's like we're going someplace to get something to get calories in you. And they were probably bad choices, but you can't look back. Um, but you can control the decisions that you make and what choices get put in front of you and which way you tend to decide in terms of what's going to make you more successful versus less successful. Um, as I know a lot of people do out there, you may have a day where you've got an important meeting. Um, that is coming up or that has been scheduled that you've prepared for, you're ready for, or whatever. A huge suggestion is to take a walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes before that meeting actually starts, just to get the blood flowing and clear your head. And, um, you know, it's amazing how your brain is so in tune with your body and the rest of you that just do a simple thing like taking a 10-minute walk, 20 minutes before your meeting starts, um, can help. It's Nilofer Merchant actually says that sitting is the new pandemic, and it's tough to disagree with her. When you look at all the people and all the jobs and all the things that we're doing on a daily basis, and how much of it is just sitting, at a desk or in an office or at home or whatever. So just make sure you're taking the time to get up and get the blood flowing and just be a little bit active. It's not necessarily exercise, but it is just getting the blood flowing, getting out of sitting, and just rejuvenating before you get to that important meeting or whatever it is. The other thing with this, and it could be as if you're a business owner or if you're not, but is just taking extreme ownership of whatever it is in life that you're going through. Your goals and living your best life, or maybe it is you are a business owner. And by extreme ownership, it's meant to be disciplined and very intentional in what you're doing, the actions that you're taking, the moves that you're making, and having the discipline to stay with why you're doing it as the road gets challenging, and holding yourself accountable. And that's why we talk about, involving others in this, whatever it is, journey, or creating a new version of yourself, is having other people there to help hold you accountable. Um, I don't know about anybody else out there, but I tend to read a lot. And it's mostly, well, let's see, yeah, these things. Um, and there's a ton of great information out there. It just, if it's fiction, that, and you're reading as a release, to escape kind of the, just the daily grind of stuff, that's awesome. Reading is a great way of doing it. You're, using your imagination and creativity. And if it's nonfiction, stuff like that, could be on personal development or healthy relationships, or growing your wealth, or whatever ultimately it is. That's great too. There's a lot of, a lot of benefits that come from reading. It helps your memory, helps your imagination, and your behavior. Just because it's something that, as a society, we've gotten away from. Now it's YouTube and Facebook and television, and we tend to turn our brains off when we do that. Whereas reading, just as enjoyable, but you have to be engaged in it. And it doesn't matter if it's fiction or nonfiction. At that point, it's just keeping your brain engaged. And there's a lot of short and long-term health benefits that come from it as well. The other thing is just the power of fitness, just doing something to stay active. Even if it's, you're just starting out, and your walk is, it's a half hour, and it doesn't even matter how far you get, or if there's hills or whatever, but the effort that goes into, I'm gonna do this, and the more consistent you become, the better it's going to get. You're going to walk faster, farther. You're going to start to feel better about yourself, and just not only the physical condition, but like we talked about, it also engages different parts of your brain, that when you're out for that walk. And so there's a ton of different benefits that come from it. I know we talk a lot about, like, the three big ones, the health, wealth, or relationships. Even if health is not the goal that you're necessarily striving to, if you're fit and in shape and you've already been doing it, that's great. If you're not, but your focus is on relationships, just keep in mind, like, as your relationship improves, a lot of times the other stuff kind of comes with it. It's nearly impossible to level up one part of your life and the rest stays the same. They tend to you start to level up together, and all of a sudden you're gonna have a better relationship, and you're going to be more active, and maybe you'll take on exercising as something that you and your significant other, friends, family, whatever, that you start to incorporate as a way to help build relationships on that. And then because you're engaging your brain more, and you have this confidence because you feel better, you look better, you're in a good spot emotionally with your relationships, that's when you tend to, attract more opportunities, for money, for career growth, whatever it is, to help you build more wealth. So, the other thing to keep in mind is, as we've talked about, in your past, and you've had things that you've attempted that you haven't succeeded at. There's things that you've done that you've fallen short, and like I've said, we don't ever fail at anything. They're just opportunities to learn. So along with that, keep in mind that it does not matter what your age is, what challenges or lessons you've learned in the past. The most important thing is your next decision and your next move. Those are the most important in your life, because all that stuff, that those lessons, the challenges, the falling short, whatever, all the stuff that we've learned in our past, we can now put to use on the next decision. And then once we make that and move forward, the next decision becomes the most important. So just keep that in mind, that you're always looking forward. Yes, we want to lean on the past for lessons and mistakes and things not necessarily to repeat, but it's the next decision that's the most important to you guys. So, all right. So the new program that we're releasing, it's a Get Started program. This is aimed at people that they want to get some information, they want to get the information, and they want to kind of self-reliantly go through everything. Maybe you're already driven, or you don't feel that it would be a benefit to go through a longer course that's 8 weeks or something like that. So this Get Started program is very simple, very straightforward. You're going to get the worksheet. It is very simple. The worksheet is not meant to be the hard part. The hard part and the work that you're going to put in, that comes when you start actually achieving and making the progress. The worksheet is very simple. It focuses on what, why not, what's next. And then there's about a half-hour video that you're going to get. Just sitting down, me explaining like what each step, why it's important, where you need to focus your attention, so that you can kind of get everything in place. It's yours. So if you want to make multiple copies of the worksheet, that's great. The video you get, there's going to be upgrades and different, things coming forward in the future, but the video is going to be yours. So you can always kind of go back and reference it, or, pause different parts or whatever. So, but like I said, this is a brand new program. In fact, so new, we haven't even gotten it into the website or, anything clickable. So if this is of interest, like I said, it's $297. Just send me an email. Send us an email at info@Project9Life. In the subject line, just put Get Started, and then just indicate if you'd like to pay either through Venmo or if you need a credit card. And we'll send you the link, so that you can get that. Once that's paid, we'll get that information out to you, within 24 hours of you paying for it. So, but that's the new program. It's we're excited about it because it gets the information um, to you guys as quickly as possible. Um, it is a little bit, it's obviously more self-driven than like an 8-week weekly coached program. Um, but at the same time, you've got all the information um, that's included there. So that's the new program that we've got. So um, all right. So this morning, when you got up, how did you? It's Tuesday. So how did you feel getting up on this Tuesday? Were you excited, ready to get out of bed, or were you like a lot of people, where you're tired, you didn't want to get out of bed, you were struggling to kind of get up and get everything going. Um, I'll tell you the main reason why, and let's take, if you're sick or not feeling good, that equation out of it. But if you're feeling fine, it's because you're resigned to the feeling that you're going to have that day, and you just feel that you're resigned to it being another mundane, same as always day. You're looking at it and there's no part of your day that necessarily has any excitement. And again, it's like Groundhog's Day. It's another Tuesday, which is just like last Tuesday. Next Tuesday will be the same. And that's the cycle that we want to get you, that you need to get out of for yourself. But do you remember back when you were a kid and it was summer, and you'd wake up in the morning and you were like level 100 as soon as you opened your eyes? You were up, you were ready to go, you had plans with friends, or you had a soccer game or a baseball game or practice for this, or you were looking forward to a camping trip or whatever it was. But it was every single day that you woke up and you're just like ready to go. And the main reason why is that you knew something unexpected was going to happen that day. We should all live our lives that way and just expect the unexpected and go into each and every day knowing that there's something unexpected that's going to happen. It shouldn't be the mundane repeat, rinse repeat cycle. The beginning of your day should be, it should be powerful. And it should have like some anticipation of what you're going to experience that day. For a couple different reasons. One, that, most importantly, it puts you on the lookout for it. I remember distinctly one day driving downtown, and it was a beautiful morning, and I was having a good morning so far, and saw an individual with a crown and a cape and a plastic sword fighting nobody. Kind of made me raise my eyebrows a little bit, but it was an unexpected event that if I would have been just head down, just getting to wherever I was going, I might have missed that guy walking by. And there's experiences like that all over the place. Um, and you need to continue that feeling throughout your day. So when you get to the point in your day, and I would say do it at least 4 or 5 times, but just check in with yourself. Are you still do you still feel that power of expecting the unexpected? Do you still feel like higher energy, you know, looking out for everything, just what's next? If you're not, it's fine. But my suggestion is to take 5 minutes, take a step back, um, just check on kind of what's going on that has derailed you from that powerful anticipating feeling that you had first thing in the morning, um, and remember it. And typically what leads to when you know that you're going to need that recheck is you become frustrated, you become impatient, you might snap at someone or something like that. Instead of just letting your day continue down that route, take 5 minutes, step back, do a self-assessment, a check on yourself, and then reassess and get back to your day. You're going to be less impatient, less frustrated, um, and you're going to be able to rise up, and continue to level up your life and what you're doing, and whatever you're sitting there out to achieve and everything like that. So giving yourself that freedom to take 5 minutes to step back from something, assess it, and then get back into it, instead of just continuing to go, and you end up you know just going further down the negative path. um, Remember, your day is a long one, and especially when you're establishing a new version, a leveled up version of yourself. It's important that you take that time to reassess throughout your day. But biggest lesson is just wake up in the morning and know that something unexpected is going to happen. Expect it. Be on the lookout for it. You never know when it's going to happen, what it's going to be. It could be something that just makes you chuckle. That, man, maybe you look at your friend and you're like, man, I haven't seen that before. Or it could be unexpected in, you show up at work and there's a message from a client that you've been working with that you never thought you had a chance with, that says, actually, yeah, we're going to go with your idea, or, we'll move forward with you. But anticipate it and wake up, get your day started that way, and then just check in throughout and make sure that you're maintaining that positive outlook on each part of your day. So that's a little bit of just some kind of food for thought on some daily check-ins. So, okay. So again, I'm 47. My parents are mid-70s. Different time and era. I say that about me from them. My kids are going to say that about them from me. Every generation, they look at their parents and it's like, well, they did this and we did this and we did this and we did this. Yeah, fine. So the old American dream used to be, you'd go to college, which you'd accumulate about $100,000 in student debt. You spend 20 grand on your wedding. You had a $60,000 car that you borrowed the money to purchase, and you bought a place and had a $400,000 um, mortgage. But the way that this generations, that are younger, and especially now kids that are coming out of high school and college and everything like that, their dreams are different. And better or worse, but they're different. So the new American dream is no debt, like no debt, no student loans, no credit cards, no car loans, anything like that. Um, they also want multiple income sources, which is one thing that is really helpful with accumulation of wealth. Is if you can spend the time and the effort to get something set up, that all is that the time and effort was spent, and every month a certain amount just shows up, be it because you invested in real estate into an apartment building that's at 98% occupied, or you had a affiliate marketing company that you started, or whatever ultimately it is. But don't be afraid to have different interests in different areas. Don't be so dependent on just that 9 to 5 that you're working at. That at this point, yeah, it might make up 100% or 95% of what you're bringing in on a monthly basis. But that's one of the things that you can look at, is just spreading yourself out a little bit and having different people pay you for different reasons. Um, Another new American dream is not being dependent on a 9 to 5, and a lot more anymore, thanks to a good amount of COVID and stuff like that. But a lot of companies out there realize that they don't need offices, and so people have the freedom to work from home or work remote. It's still the 9 to 5, but there's a little bit more freedom. And a lot of people took the past few years and looked at it as an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm done working for someone else. I'm going to go do my own thing. Or I'm going to take a job that is 98% of my income is based on commissions or activity or whatever ultimately it is, and being more in control with it, but not having to, punch the clock at 9, punch the clock at 5. Also is living wherever you want. I think a lot of kids, and the thing was growing up is like, when wherever your parents lived, typically you lived in that same general area. But as you go on, just because you were born in a small town and it was, a farming dependent town, that doesn't mean that's where you need to end up. You could be like, that same person could be like, I want to move to New York City. And same thing, that New York City person might be like, I want to move to the mountains. The mountain person could be like, I just can't wait to get to a beach. So with how everything is, especially these days with accessibility online, it's like, look, if you've got Wi-Fi, laptop, and a phone, you can pretty much do whatever you need to, wherever you need to do it from. So that's just kind of how everyone's thinking, and something that you should think about as well is like where you currently live. Why do you live there? Um, you know, it could be because you grew up and you really enjoy the area. That's great. But if you don't really enjoy exactly where you're living, okay, well, what's holding you there? Is it the job? Is it the proximity to a family? Or your kids are growing up and just got to get them out of high school and then you're going to go? Whatever. But just know why you are where you are. All right, so just some kind of things for thought in terms of like wealth creation, and some good kind of rules of thumb to just to keep in mind that if you're truly looking at creating wealth, that you need to really be paying attention to. But if you make 50 grand a year, you need to live like it's 40. Same thing if it's 70, live like it's 40. If you make 100 a year, I know it sounds like a record. Live like it's 40. If you make 120 a year, last time, live like it's 40. So the idea there is that live your life where you're comfortable, but below kind of maxing everything out. And then the excess, that's where you're going to create either additional income streams, additional wealth investments. You're going to have those memories that you're going to create because you're going to go on some great vacations or, on adventures or whatever. But don't be maxing stuff out to be able to enjoy those things. Just live life like you're barely making it, even if you are just crushing it and you got all sorts of additional money that's coming in. That's fine, but do things with it that are going to add meaning to and memories to your current life. And when you ultimately decide, I'm moving to XYZ location, and that I'm just going to depend on that residual income of that, those two additional lines of income, because I've got no debt. The place that I'm going, rent is X or whatever. So you're still at that 40%, but now you're just living off of the decisions that you made during your work days as you get to there. So the goal is to continually increase your income without continually upgrading your lifestyle. So you can put the rest into investments. And that really it helps set you free. That's the biggest thing with that is when you do that, and if you do it correctly and successfully, you get to a point to where you're free from having to go to work because of the investments that you've made, or the additional streams of income that you've got going on, to where they pay for everything. And so you don't need a 9 to 5 anymore, or you don't need to wake up and go to work anymore. And the better you get at it, and the earlier and the more aggressively you do that in life, then you get to enjoy that freedom earlier in life. You don't have to wait until 65 and Social Security, right? All right. So along with that financial and living below your means, a couple things. If you make less than $300,000 a year, um, you stop driving a BMW. Stop eating out daily. Pack a lunch, or eat breakfast at home, pack a lunch, and then cook dinner at home. Stop renting for $3, $4, $5,000 every single month. And I know cost of living is out of whack a little bit in a lot of different areas, and obviously you need a roof over your head, but be economical with the choice that you're making as to where you're living. And the other thing is, and yes, I know, I realize the women out there and some of the guys might hate me for this, but you don't need to wear designer clothes. You want stuff that's nice, that fits, but you don't necessarily have to go full on, $3,500 suit and, whatever, $2,000 dress or whatever. It's money that you're not going to see a return on. Drive a whatever, Honda, Toyota, whatever gets you from A to B. And especially with a lot of the cars coming out these days, they're nice, and they get you from A to B, and they've got plenty of get up, or especially with the kind of moving everything electric, they're all basically going to kind of fall into that same kind of category. Keep cooking at home, like we talked about with your housing. Make it a nice, wherever you're living, make it decent, make it nice, make it livable. Obviously you don't put yourself in harm's way, but you don't have to. Like, I live in Denver, right? So I live in the suburbs south of town. The rent here is vastly different than if I go 15 miles into downtown Denver. And like a lot, I've seen places that are, going for 8, 9, 10, 12 grand a month in rent. That why? Because of an address or a zip code or something like that. So, the biggest lesson there is don't go broke trying to look rich, and don't be broke trying to be rich. Spend your money wisely. Remember those choices. Like, if the best thing you can do is take $1, send it out, let it gather 9 of its friends up, and then come back to you, right? And the more often you do that, and as those sums start to get bigger, that creates another income stream for you, makes you less reliant on, a 9 to 5 or whatever. And there's a ton of different things that you can do out there. Everything from, like I said, affiliate marketing, or, there's the, oh God, I can't remember his name, but, the Airbnb stuff. to, going in and looking at rental apartment buildings, not just individual homes. That is not you don't want to be a landlord. If you're planning on having that freedom, because all it takes is a couple phone calls from someone saying, hey, I need this, hey, I need that. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh God, you're having to work. So, so the way to think about, like, with the investment side of it, in the end, you need at least two income streams. One is just, that covers your bills. And then your side hustle is for your investments. So, just for math purposes, let's say that, you're making $5,000 a month, and at that $5,000, you got your bills covered and you're good to go with everything. If you bring in another $2,000 a month, $1,500 a month, that is to be used to invest into whatever ultimately it is. But that's the purpose of it. You don't want to expand your lifestyle to a point to where you're now dependent on that additional $2,500 just to cover living expenses. Okay. Wise investments, and the more aggressively that you live in terms of your lifestyle versus your income versus a side hustle, the more aggressive that you can make, this additional bucket, the earlier you're that much closer to basically just freedom. Being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, and living that life that you've got in your mind of, this was my goal, this is the steps that I took, this is what I did to get there. Okay. All right. So a couple lessons, just kind of finishing up here. We got about 6-7 minutes left, but some of the most successful people in life, some names you've heard of, obviously, like the, Elon Musk's and Bezos and Warren Buffett and all these guys, but maybe not at that level, but definitely maybe names that or that you should know, that are just, they've done all these things and they're living free. But the important lesson from them is they don't complain, and they do what needs to be done in silence. They're, a lot of times, you might not even know their level of success or who they are, because what they do for a living and the money that they're making is not in the public eye, and they aren't taking it and making it part of the public eye. They're just out there doing their thing, making all these wise moves and investments and whatever, and you never know, because they're not sharing that information. They're just doing what they do. They act with an irrational self-belief, and they ignore those limiting opinions. We talk about, self-limiting doubts and limiting beliefs and stuff like that. The people, when you get to that level of success, and it doesn't have to be necessarily, a wealth creation, but when you get to whatever your goal is you're not going to have those limiting beliefs. You'll be almost irrational in what you're going to accomplish and what you're going for. And you're not going to limit yourself. There's no ceiling on what you can do and how far you can go and what you can accomplish. They also own up to their mistakes. They learn from them, and then they level up. So, like we talked about, I mean, everyone makes mistakes in life as you grow, but if you look at them as failures, you're never going to get past them. What you need to do is learn from them, do it better or differently the next time, and level up your life, level up your whatever it is that you're going after. It's a kind of a recurring theme, I know, but leveling up, it's true. It's like because once you get to a point to where you get another level, you're not going to go back down. It becomes completely unacceptable at that point. And you just can't see it, right? So you just keep going up and up and up. They also honor their commitments and they hold themselves accountable. What's the old saying? It's the thumb, not a finger, when it comes to stuff like that. So they're most likely to be like, it's my thing or it's my fault. They don't blame others and point. So they do hold themselves, and you should hold yourself accountable to what you set out for, your goals. The only person ultimately that makes everything happen the way that you want is you. As much as your kids may stare at you to go for a walk, it's like, if you don't put shoes on and get out the door, they can stare all they want. So hold yourself accountable to what you've set out, and every day just making progress. You need to take yourself seriously and know that you can achieve anything that you want. Not that any of us looks at ourselves as a joke, but we do need to take what we do and our goals seriously. And not just strive for them, but make progress. And there is no ceiling on it. There's no limit to everything that you can do when you're committed to it. So take it seriously and make progress. The other thing is always be in control of your emotions. We've all seen, experienced, maybe still know the person who at the slightest deviation from the status quo, they completely fly off the handle. There's also the other side of that where you're showing up on time in the morning, and they're treating it like every day is your birthday that you showed up on time. You got to center yourself, right? That way your highs are never so high, and conversely, your lows are never so low. There's occasions for those things, but they should be few and far between. And make sure that if there is either an irrational exuberance or an irrational impatience, you're still in control, because the last thing that any of us wants is to say or do something that we can't take back. Lastly is, they have meaningful influence. They're the people in, the books. They've gotten to a certain level to where, people are influenced by their words, by, their actions, their lifestyle, their whatever. So when you set out with this and you've got a goal, you've got your why, you've got everyone on board, and you're going, remember, you're having a meaningful influence on those around you, be it family, friends, kids, whatever. By you making progress and leveling up your life, you're having a great meaningful influence on them. So, all right, guys, we're all out of time. Hope you guys had a great Tuesday, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.